Senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano says the current head of the NSA, General Keith Alexander, lied to Congress during yesterday's intelligence hearing about whether the agency can listen to our phone calls and read our emails. Now, hang on. You're about to get 3 questions and 3 answers. I want you to listen specifically and carefully to question number 2 and answer number 2. And then listen to the rest of it, then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
General Alexander, is the NSA on private companies' servers as defined under these 2 programs?
We are not.
Is the NSA have the ability to listen to Americans' phone calls or read their emails under these 2 programs?
No, we do not have that authority.
Does the technology exist at the NSA to flip a switch by some analyst to listen to Americans' phone calls or read their emails?
No.
All right, did you hear that second question? Does it have the ability to listen to our phone calls or read our emails? He said no. We do not have that authority. Ability is one thing, authority is another. Did you get that? There's more, too. Judge Andrew Napolitano is here, our senior judicial analyst. Do you, sir, have the ability to listen to or read listen to our phone calls or read our emails? No. We do not have that authority.
In my courtroom or in any courtroom in the United States of America, the response would be, General, answer the question. Answer the question that was asked of you, which is not what he did. Now, I don't know what's in his head, so I don't know if it's a lie, but it's a material misleading. It's giving the impression that they don't have the ability, because he starts out by saying no, that they don't have the ability to read emails and listen to phone calls. He modifies that by saying we don't have the authority to. We know they don't have the authority to. We know the statute doesn't give them the authority. That's not our concern. Our concern is that they have grabbed these phone calls and grabbed these emails and have the temptation to listen to them and read them, whether they have the authority to or not.
Or that they're there for some other person who may be in some position of authority, or some other person who might get a hold of this stuff. Would that person have the authority? It wouldn't really matter, would it? And the third part of that question and answer was, can you basically flip a switch and listen in or read in? Maybe there's no switch, but there ain't no doubt they can do that. There's zero, none. Not a little fraction of a percentage of, there's no doubt, 100% they can do it, 100%.
Fox News has been in contact with former NSA agents and staffers who have pushed back aggressively on the general's answer to that last question and have argued, without giving specifics, that they have the ability to listen to phone calls without going to the facility where the phone calls are stored.
Yep. Here's the thing, Judge. As a reporter, what you try to do is ask questions of all the people involved with the subject on which you're reporting. And as a reporter, when you ask one question of one person and then they answer another question, and then you ask a question like the flip switch, and then there's a fib about it, and then you ask somebody else, and then someone else in charge, like maybe the top person in charge of everything, says this is transparent. When it's not transparent, there are checks and balances, but it is by definition not transparent. And you just get all of these untrue things along the way. Then you start to wonder, what's going on here?
Well, you know, in a courtroom, the people asking the questions are generally professional cross-examiners.
Well, Mike Rogers ought to be a professional asker. He ought to be.
He's a former FBI agent, and he probably knows the answers to these questions before he's asking them. He has a duty to follow up on the question, whether he likes the answer to the question or not.
How could you ask someone a question like, do you have the ability to? That's what he wants to know. Do you have the ability? No, we do not have that authority. Sir, that's not what I asked you. Do you have the ability? The answer to that question is yes.
Yes.
Why is everybody involved with this? I'm not a crazy conspiracy theorist. I never have been. I'm a journalist. These things add up. 7 and 7 does not make 400.
Well, that's why it doesn't necessarily take a professional cross-examiner to ask these questions. A journalist knows. A person that understands the English language and can hear ordinary plain words knows that ability and authority are 2 different things. We are talking about a popularly elected government in a free society spying on more than half the people in the country. And the chief spy is being asked a question under oath. oath. He has a duty and a moral obligation to be crystal clear and not to mislead and to answer the questions put to him.
They want transparency, and there should be a debate. Transparency means questions asked and questions answered by the employer, that's us and our representatives, and the employee, that's you, the one being paid to do this stuff for us. And instead, you get half-truths, obfuscations, and something called transparency being called the exact same thing as checks and balances. Those are different things. All the checkers and all the balancers seem to be in cahoots with a lack of transparency and truthfulness.
And the clear, distinct impression is left that the testifier wants to leave, and that is at odds with the history and the truth.
This is not over.
No. No, it's not over.
The polls have turned on it, though. They've convinced the American people, oh, it's fine. Huh.
Well,
wake up.
We'll see where it goes.
Time to wake up.
Listen, somebody...
Obfuscations, half-truths, asking one question, answering another question. This is not how you get to the bottom of things.
This does not serve the American people well when they're not told the truth.
It's not right,
We have
it's not
seen
fair,
this
and they
before.
know it. They know
You
it.
and I did this a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember who the testifier was. It was the exact same thing. Somebody giving a slightly different answer to the question.
And they just let it go.
Correct. Nobody followed up.
Nobody follows up.
Correct.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
President Obama again defended those surveillance programs today, saying lives have been saved. You know what, Judge? They said that they foiled a plot to bomb the stock exchange. First of all, that plot was in the very early talking stages, and then they said, well, what did it actually stop it? They said, well, you'll just have to ask the jury who convicted them. Do you know the plot to bomb the stock exchange was not even part of the final document that they went to prison for? It wasn't even part of the charging document.
Wow.
Wasn't included.
That's the problem.
They left that out.
That's the problem.
That little detail.
That's the problem with letting this agency decide what it's going to reveal and what it's going to keep secret. Of course it's going to reveal that which makes it look good.
Of course.
And of course it's going to keep secret that which doesn't make it look good.
Open it up.
We have no way to check and balance it because there is no transparency.
Yeah. Mr. Government, tear down this wall.